sign is water, but it's actually an air sign.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew what water bearer like represented. Like I got it. Like, okay, yeah, water bearer. Okay. But now I'm like, dude, like Aquarius people, your brain is like the vessel, or no, your head is, and inside your head is like this raging ocean all the time, like tossing me around. That's what I feel like. I'm like, oh, God bless you, because I am struggling over here. Good morning. Oh, you know what? I didn't even adjust our camera. It looks kind of icky. Let me fix it. There we go. It was like all air above our heads. That's good, right? That's okay.
Yes. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How are you? We hope that you're doing great.
Mm-hmm.
We just had amazing breakfast.
Yeah, next
breakfast
door.
Before EP.
Yeah, we're going to try to make it a habit.
Yes, and it was delicious.
So good.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Loon's favorite, poached eggs with avocado.
And waffles.
And waffles.
Yeah. And coffee.
And juice.
Yeah.
And so we're all filled in tummy. How is everybody doing? We hope that you're doing really well. And we were sort of tossing, you know, these programs are sort of unplanned, unrehearsed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you saw Loon talking about the airy,
Spacey.
watery space of the Aquarius time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I happen to be Aquarius, so I'm looking at her saying like, what?
Yeah. No, you can handle it. I'm like, what is happening to my brain right now? Oh my God. It's been really challenging to, I feel like it makes sense up here, but when it comes out of my mouth, it's like not quite, I don't have the art yet of like making it translate or making it funnel through like clearly. You know what I mean?
What do you think that causes that? You know, like in other words, is it, what do you think causes it?
I feel like well, air signs in general just have like a more like up here, you know, like it's more.
I was going to say it's cosmic.
It's very cosmic. It's also like Neptune, I think, like ruling. Is it Neptune? Uranus like has a big part to play in Aquarius energy, and that's like new ideas, technology, new concepts, new thought, and not in like this very like disciplined like kind of way, but like peaceful, like okay, yeah, you know, these new ideas, but it feels like I'm supposed to do something with it, and that's kind of what the theme that we chose today is, this like urgent kind of energy, because it's like so much. It's like you're looking at a map, or you're looking at a new book, or just something new and big, and you want to like take it and make the map, or like, what is the message? What's the plan? Why do I have these ideas? What is going on?
Right.
And but like, I still feel stuck, you know, or it's just not the right time. And it's like, just enjoy the idea, maybe journal it, maybe write it down, but stop putting the pressure on of like, that I have to create with it. Like maybe it's just to enjoy.
You consider yourself more a grounder?
I think so. Like I have Virgo rising, so like I have that like, you know, Earth, and then my midheaven is Taurus, which is another very grounded kind of thing.
And I ask that because as a grounder, you would be more apt to put it into motion. You know, have a yearning and, you know, like almost like urgency, as you said, to put it into motion as a grounder. Whereas the more cosmic beings are able to just let it
let it flow.
And that's
I'm like,
word.
This does not compute. This does not make sense. What am I supposed to do with this? It's like which way is up, kind of, you know, like that's what I feel like. I feel like very like tossed around. Like I
don't
can't
get it twisted though. You know what? Even the cosmic, because I'm Aquarius, so I'm very floaty. I'm very up, you know, like up there.
Yeah, you get lost when you drive.
The other day I had the most bizarre experience, but it is truly Sybil / pure luck. You know, perfect. I don't know. I was on a local street, very close to my house, which is where I drive here. I'm a 10-minute drive. I got distracted by somebody who was sort of swerving into my lane, and that was enough to making a wrong turn. And now I am completely lost. Never mind that. Again, I'm 10 minutes from my house. I was literally starting from my house to here.
And you got lost.
The long and short of the story is I had to wind up somehow. I don't know how I did it. Oh, and by the way, my GPS wasn't working. As soon as I tried, it was, you know, my GPS never works. Winded up having to come back home, you know. And I was not planned either. That was the only alternative based on what the turns I was making.
Yeah.
And so it's not fun, is what I'm saying, to be, you know, we think that being, you know, floaty, cosmic, but it has its disadvantages, which is that we can't navigate very well. I have, again, very severe issues driving, finding my way around, directions on the earth realm. You know, if you put me up there, I'm fine.
Like, I'll just pull that up. Okay, let's go.
But I agree with you with this urgency, this energetic feeling of needing to start something. And when you think about it, you know, we can even see it physically. The seasons, the winter. It's hibernation time, right?
Yeah. And we all start to get a little a lot of us get to like a little stir crazy in the winter, indoors, right? That just like, cold. What is taking so long? Like, I don't know if you noticed, but they have like spring clothes. Like, for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere with us, they have like spring clothes out. And I'm like, dirty, rotten. Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, I'm over here with my like warmest coat.
Right.
Leggings under my pants, and like I have to see these like cute little spring dresses. I'm like, you're trying to, you know what I mean? It's like very like,
we're gonna be able to put those to use soon when we go to Costa Rica and March, right? So we have a little bit of an advantage there.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
But you know, the winter season, and so what is happening with this urgency and the energetic vibration that's in place right now? I observe the winter to be, you know, we say hibernation, but it's really about collecting. I feel gathering, you know, and what visions, you know, goals, intentions, and your energy, by the way. You know, it's almost like a time to replenish, to nurture yourself, you know, and just that restoration period, the cocoon.
The cozy time.
The cocoon. Absolutely. Allowing yourself to take little breaks. And of course, if we look at the spring season, we know that everything is budding then, right? And so there too, it's almost like those seeds start taking fruition, you know, when spring comes.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I love working with the seasons that way. Just like you said, I feel like fall is really good for maybe a little release, but more so for me, it's about like learning, like going back to school. You know what I mean? Like, and I always find that I'm like just interested in something or studying something, like just during that time. And I feel like then like winter is kind of like, continue it, keep like, okay, if we've just read a new book, let's say like a good book, right. And then like over the winter, like how that, let's say, you know, and all our other experiences, but how that affected us and how we're kind of like incubating or shifting or, you know, just like growing.
I love that word, by the way, incubation, because there it is again. You know, we are like the seasons because we are part of the elements. And the incubation period could be such an amazing time, although you brought up a great point before we started that a lot of people experience depression, you know, almost like suffocation, you know, needing to get out, anxiety, right?
Yeah.
And there's a balance because, you know what, we're all very unique. So, you know, what may apply for one may not apply for another. But trying to be gentle and knowing that the incubation period is important.
Yeah, to honor it and not make it have us feeling rushing through the incubation period. And that kind of comes through with that urgent feeling a little now. Like, I don't know, I feel like how could it not be related? Like, let's say seasonal depression or that need to like, I feel it's like feeling stuck physically in a sense, or you know, you can't do the things maybe that you would do in the summer. I don't know, stuff like that. But also this like urgency to like kind of like get out and like start walking the walk of like the new self. It's just like easy to rush that. Like if you're incubating, it's for a reason. You're changing, you know, like something's kind of developing or cultivating or going on there, right? And it's like this rush, right? Like I want to rush it. It's so funny because you were just talking about, as we got started earlier when we came in, like rituals, you know, and like rushing rituals or taking your time to have reverence for the ritual, you know, and how much of a different energy we bring to it when we let things be when they have to be and really honor that like timing, you know.
Well, you know, that's interesting that you did bring that up, because I think that there's different levels of ritual. And here we go. We'll get, you know, like we're opening up those different doors, right? It's great when we don't plan. I feel that there's different levels of rituals. And what I mean by that is, you know, we can have a ritual of lighting up a candle every day, or of saying a prayer, or salutation to the 4 directions, or whatever works for us. So that's one level, you know, and that's a practice.
Yeah, that's a practice.
And then there's deliberate alchemical
manifesting rituals, you know, directing energy like in a heavier way.
And that is, to me, like a high level, you know, type of ritual that, at least for me, I don't engage in every day, because I don't feel that there's a need to engage in every day. And I also have a deep reverence for the engaging in that type of ritual, because on the basic level, you know, like the practice, we sort of doing it for ourselves, I believe.
Yeah.
You know,
like meditation.
Like meditation. You know, exactly. You know, like meditation, like I said, or prayer. Well, it could be the same as eating every day. But we don't eat filet mignon every day. Right? Maybe we do. But and that's kind of like how I compare it to the alchemical type of rituals. I often find also that, and don't box any of this, but a lot of times when we step into that alchemical, deliberate rituals, they usually encompass more than you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like other people, situations, circumstances. And now we step into discipline, you know, and responsibility of cause and effect, you know, because just because we may want something, you know, doesn't mean that it's in divine order, you know, that I can't force you, or, you know, force the universe. And so, you know, being very deliberate in alchemical rituals is something that's very sacred to me. You know?
Oh, for sure.
You know,
I feel like we don't even, like, not to say we don't have the energy to do it every day, but there's a process of like building up your energy in a sense, and then having momentum, that, you know what I mean? Like, even if it's just, you know, like I like to do ritual. They're not heavy duty, but I do like to do rituals, let's say once a month, whether it's a new moon or the full moon. Like we had the full moon eclipse, so I did a little ritual for myself. And like it did include other people, because it was like ritual from the family in general, or more so I think what my ritual was about this recent full moon eclipse was just being the best me that I can be, but knowing that like I have to show up and be that. You know, we've talked about that before with me, and like not like hiding, not like dumbing myself down and not feeling, but knowing that it's for the good of everyone, and just like kind of having that like back end of like the group, but also like myself, you know. I don't know, it's like, sounds like I'm twisting it around, which is very Aquarius for me. Like not twisting around, but like it's this, but it's this, it's this, but it's this. Like, yeah, it is both, you know, like that kind of thing. But even that's not, I think, the level of ritual that you're talking about. Like, because that is even...
No, that's more like a level of practice. You see what you said?
Yeah, it's like monthly.
Full moon. Yeah. So it's almost like a practice that we may keep.
It's a bit more heavy,
you know,
because it's got more correspondence, let's say, tied to it. Like the placement of the moon. The moon, the full moon eclipse being in Leo, and there's more like correspondence to what's going on there than just like, okay, it's my red candle and it's my love candle, and I'm going to light that once a day. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Yes.
So,
you know, when it's funny because it's at that level. I don't know how we got here, but we started talking about urgency, but that's okay. It's at that level of ritualistic co-creation that some people tend to get a little
Yeah.
Right? Or what is this stuff?
Yeah.
Or like, what do you mean? And then some people are afraid of it. Some people label it to be this or that. No, it's deliberate is what it is. It's the highest form of alchemical co-creation, but alongside with it comes great responsibility, discipline, and again, a knowledge or an awareness of cause and effect. Of cause and effect. Because once we put something into an alchemical movement, we can't take it back.
Yeah.
It has to complete its, its cycle.
As bad or messy as it gets.
And this is why the highest intentions and deliberate and being slow, that's how I got there.
Yeah.
And not feeling rushed.
Right.
Into doing something that's where the discipline comes in. Sometimes,
you have to be sure.
So here how it comes all together, how we need to let things incubate, how we have to become the observer, and sometimes look at what are we rushing? Because in the rush, we may interfere.
Oh, yeah. Or you could get what you want, but it's got a lot more complications tied along, or it's not quite pleasant. I feel like this is like an urgency that comes up when people are doing rituals for, and I don't mean to say, I just feel like this happens more with the more inexperienced people. And I don't mean that in like a rude way, but for myself too. Like I was in high school, like doing like a love spell or something. And like it fucking not a good idea. You know what I mean? Like I should not have done that. Like I regret that, but it was an urgency. Like, oh, but I want this. Like that kind of thing. But I wasn't thinking about it. I didn't plan it out. I didn't, how could I? I was, a kid or whatever. But yeah, it was really bad.
There you go, right? So the cause and effect. It reminds me of an author who I loved when I started my own spirituality, John Randolph Price. He wrote a couple of great spiritual books. And I remember reading, it was from him that I learned how to write, like the pros and cons list or almost like an ingredient list. So say you're looking for a partner, like the attributes, like with their traits.
Yeah, like you don't want them to just be on time.
Right.
You want them to be the right person. Right. Yeah.
And so he shared a story about how he was teaching a student once, and she was looking for a partner. She should put this, funny, loving, blah, 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 and she forgot one little detail. And so the next thing you know, this man pops into her life and has all these amazing characteristics. That would have been bad too. He was 86. Not to say that that's a problem, but she's in her 30s.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story that he was sharing, and of course I share now too, is we need to be specific. And we need to really know why we're asking what we're asking for. Because as you said, sometimes when we come from that immature or inexperienced or hasty place, impatience, we may think that we know what we're asking for. And then when we get it, we're like, no.
Yeah.
Like, this is definitely
it was not how you wanted it. No. And I always say that too when people are, because I'm sure you get these emails, a lot of people like trying to manifest love, but they might be very focused on one person at the time.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, take what you like about that person, write it down, and then add more to it, like emotionally available, or has time, or we go out, we take a vacation once in a while. We like add more to it and focus on that instead of like limiting yourself to somebody who can't be all the things that you want.
By the way, that's great, because hitting in that experience of not being able to have this person available, the paradox is you just have to look at the traits that disturb you and just reverse them. You follow me?
Yeah.
So somebody unavailable or somebody that you have to keep chasing at becomes somebody who has to be available, because this person is giving you all the cues about what you really should be asking for.
We have to look at it that way. For sure. And all of our experiences, like we were just talking about this at breakfast. Like I've been living, in a situation that like is not bad, but it's definitely not where I want to be, and if I feel rushed, if I feel unappreciative of like the circumstance or anything like that. I'm just holding myself in a nasty place. Like, so in general, like, I don't want to live in Staten Island anymore for I don't want to put my roots down here. I'm okay being here for now, but like, I am planning on moving. And there are times here when you've had a day and you're driving and you're like, oh, you know, like you just get like so frustrated, or you get like you get a little nasty. I get a little nasty. You're like, oh, these entitled drivers, or, oh, come on, blinker, buddy. You know, like whatever it is, but it's like everything I get. And I'm like, okay. But instead of doing that, like, instead of focusing on that, you know, like not having enough space, I switch it. I have plenty of space, you know, like there's a special spot for every single crystal that I have in my house, you know, and like I can look out and there's like a little distance between my neighbors. They're not like right next door to me, you know, like that kind of thing. And it's like acknowledging that, like, yeah, I might get really bent out of shape about the traffic, but let me switch it and focus on like the things that I want, and like just not embody it. You can't quite embody it, but do the best you can to kind of let it into like, that's what's in your mental or your emotional field, like what you want instead of what you don't want, and just keep focusing on that, right? Like the problem. And
you know, we were talking this morning about that and saying, believe it or not, as much as we hate to hear it, sometimes those nuisances, the traffic or the people or the situations, you know, the miscommunications or the disconnections, they all show up because they're trying to remind you not to be comfortable.
Yeah.
They're reminders.
You're not gonna settle here. Like, keep going.
And if we allow ourselves to, you know, have the moment, but then to recognize that that's may very well be. You follow me? So in your case, you're saying you want to move. That person cutting you off, or, you know, the traffic is just a reminder. That look. And that's where we sometimes kind of go from one extreme to the next, because the reminder then throws us into that urgency place.
Yep.
What am I supposed to do?
I wanted to be gone yesterday. Yeah.
Why is this happening? You know.
Yep.
Maybe the reason why it's happening is just because it's just reminding you, just giving you a little sign, like the sign that we see.
I know you're comfortably incubating right now, but how about, you know, not too comfortable. Let me poke at you a little bit.
And it may not be at all. This is why I say that, you know, dotting our I's and crossing our T's when we have an experience are very important. Because in crossing your T's and I and dotting your I's, you can see if it is indeed something that you need to do. Is it asking you, you know, to take a proactive stance, something that, you know, you overlook, blah, blah, blah. Or if you come out clean with your dotting of your I's and T's, then it's only a reminder of something.
You know? Like, am I on track? Am I doing what I have to do? Yes. Can I rush it? No. Like, there's a lot of things we can't rush. I feel like money comes up a lot for like rushing things. Money and love, I guess, right? Everything.
Money
all
and
the
love,
big ones, you know, but money, it's like, it's so evident.
And spirituality, by the way.
Oh, true.
And spirituality, you know, like the need to want to get there. You know, I find anyway, a lot of people rushing. I agree. Money, you know.
Money. It's just because it's like, we always feel like we need money right now. You know, of course we do, right? We have to like pay for stuff or whatever. But when we don't have the amount that we think we need, like, I need $10,000 in my extra in my savings account so I can afford this or that, or so I can do this. And it's like very obvious when that's not there. It's almost like when you have debt, right? Like when you have a credit card. I don't know. I years back, between me and Greg, we had like a big, huge credit card to pay off, and you just want it to be gone. You know, like, it wasn't ridiculous, but it was like big enough where I was like, oh, this is not going to be a couple of months. This is going to be like 8 months of like really paying this thing off. So but you can't rush it. Like, you can't make it go away. It's like, you got to make that $500 payment every month. Just cut it down.
Listen,
you know what I mean?
A lot of times, and that's a great example there too, because check it out. I don't know how it finally got resolved, but I'm going to use this as an illustration. I don't know if this is what happened, but let's say that when you found yourself, you know, like at the cusp of that debt, maybe it was when you started to get inspired to go on YouTube.
Right.
I started doing these videos and look at all the experiences and all the people that you've touched throughout the years that you've been doing your YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we just take that and we say, okay, you know what? But let's omit all of that. And how about if she did get the 10,000? Well, you would have not done all of this. You get it?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It's like a motivation. It's
and
a drive.
so we don't always know. We give a bad rap. Me included, by the way, because I have my moments, where but why we're feeling stuck, or why we can't manifest right away, or why isn't something happening right away. But if we look at past experiences and see what happened in the in-betweens, we would probably feel a lot more comforted than in knowing, okay, so something is gonna take fruition in this in-between time that's going to be very important, like
definitely. And it can be years.
YouTube videos.
Yeah. And it can be years. Like I had that experience this week because I had to get, I'm starting getting my taxes. I started the ball rolling of my taxes for this year because I need to do it early because there's some things I have to just make sure are lining up. And I want to know, and I'm afraid of with all government shut down. I better do it early, that kind of thing. But anyway, and I'm doing stuff, or I'm now I have to set up meetings with different people, whatever. It's all this stuff. And I'm oh my God, I'm so glad that I worked in finance for 4 years in that job that paid nothing. And I hated it. But now I'm I've always had this experience from being 21 to whatever, 25 of really being immersed in financial stuff. So it's I'm not the best, but definitely know how to use Excel formulas, or schedule, okay, See? When am I going to check this in? When am I going to, reconcile this or that? Just different things that my partner's definitely not good at that. I couldn't assign it to him to do that kind of thing. So yeah, there's always these periods where we feel trapped or whatever. It's just not exactly ideal, but what's coming through that, whether it's a motivation to start something new, or it's the experience of the lesson that you're gaining through all that time or whatever. So,
and it could be compared also to school. If we don't apply ourselves to learning, what we're supposed to learn in a certain grade, then the consequences that we're going to get left back. And so nobody likes to study, but in order to get to the next grade, we have to apply ourselves, right? We have to prove that we applied ourselves by passing these grades. And there it is, there's no shortcuts. So I guess, part of the message of the insight today is if you find yourself sort of stuck and having this desire to leap, this urgency, finding a balance between those two emotions, and knowing that having intentions, as long as you've planted those intentions and you're feeding them, they're already out there taking fruition, but that you need to also honor the space in between where you find yourself in. And again, as long as you're doing the work.
Right. There's a realistic thing that kind of needs to come in. Again, I never want us to feel limited, but realistically, this isn't going to happen tomorrow. And that's okay. You know what I mean? I feel sometimes something that I see, a reading I did recently isn't even something I see with people necessarily, but was doing a reading for Aquarius season. And one of the messages was, you haven't done it yet. You want to break out, but you're not there yet. You're if you were making videos, but then you're I'm going to make music, and you're but I don't know how to make music yet, but you're I'm going to go make music. Right. It's we'd have to take the steps of okay, let me research a little, or let me work with another person maybe that does music. Maybe I'll learn something. So it's kind of having this other level dimensional shift, which I believe we can have. But when they're practical tools that we need now, money or lessons or whatever, there's no, it has to step, it has to actually keep our feet on the ground a little.
Well, again, I guess the message behind the message is after all said and done, we're here to have experiences, and the triumph, the fulfillment that comes when we could look back and see how we got to different levels of our evolution, whether it was struggle, perseverance, trauma, I mean, whatever, success, that there are steps that take us from point A to point B. And that's part of the experience. So while there is, of course, also, this is the paradox of the universe, miraculous moments, spontaneous, when things just kind of, materialize and happen. We have to move through certain experiences, because that in itself is the momentum that then builds to the character of who we become.
And if
we didn't have that, then we wouldn't have a foundation, or we wouldn't have a foundation that then we could speak out of experience to others.
It's not authentic.
A lot of times our greatest teachings or sharings are when we can speak from experience.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if we haven't gained that experience, how can we share it? It kind of reminds me too, I know I said earlier, spirituality. I see it a lot in the spiritual realm. A lot of the students, clients, and this urgency, say, to, be a teacher, or, have their practice. And, I'm frustrated. More work, like more inner work. Like, it's like, more inner work.
Yeah. It's exciting. Yeah.
Because like any other vocation, but in spirituality, you speak through your energy, through your experience, through your accomplishments, through your, perseverance of it all. And there's something amazing that happens when you deliver from that place of not speaking from your own experience that speaks to others. It's
like you really carry that
in
you, so it comes out much more,
like it magnetizes people, and people could feel that resonance of authenticity and oh wow, and of inspiration and all the stuff that then becomes like a catalyst for them. So we shouldn't want to rush and miss out on our own experience of what we need to build and work on and heal and all this stuff, because the more we invest in ourselves, the more we have to then offer as a whole,
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm getting like a little itis from those eggs and waffles. I'm kind of tired.
Oh no, she's getting tired.
I'm getting tired.
We have to wake her up.
I know.
And so we were.
I was just like listening to you talk. I'm like, I'm getting tired. Like it's cozy, like one of those.
It's probably the heat in here too.
It's nice and warm and cozy. Yeah.
So with the thought of urgency and Aquarius and floaty Loon over here,
spacey. Yeah, just
we felt that we were gonna pull some cards,
a
little guidance.
See if I can read them.
I felt whimsical, so
yeah, I love that you chose that. Fairies have been coming up a lot for people lately.
That I don't fairies, of course. Well, we have a lot of very cosmic energy here. Actually, in the Patreon channel, there was a great aha moment for a beloved who didn't realize that unicorns were, were part of the 12th dimension. And I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're real. They belong. They're in there with the mermaids and the fairies. These are really real beings. Elements.
Energies.
And so.
Did I ever tell you the time I had a dream about the unicorn?
No.
I was having this really in-depth, one of those dreams. It's like this epic, movie journey, whatever. Anna was in it, all this stuff. And a lot of times when I have dreams of someone chasing me, which kind of was like that, but I was like, oh, I know what to do. I just go through the building. Well, normally it's a house, but this was a big estate kind of weird hotel. I don't know, kind of building, a dream building, And I went through the whole thing, and I was about to jump out the window like I always do in my dreams of okay, this is how I get away. I jump out the window and run away. And I'm going to go out the window. And this freaking unicorn pops its head and it's like, you're dreaming, girl. You need to go back. And I was like, stop. Really? I needed a unicorn to tell me that. It was so goofy,
Right.
You need to go back.
Well, maybe you were gonna hurt yourself if you jumped
No, I
out
had
of
to go
somewhere.
save. I had to save Anna in my dream. Like I had to go back and warn her or something. You better
It's
go
funny
back.
you say that because you just reminded me. I woke up this morning and I was having an intense dream with Marcella. I don't know if she's on listening right now.
Probably not. She's in Colombia today.
And I was doing some very deep shamanic attunement or something. And it woke me up because it was so intense.
Yeah. How funny, right?
So what are we doing? We're doing two?
I grabbed one tarot, one like very practical, which I thought would be good for this kind of spacey. It's called Trust Your Vibes. It's
I love it.
The book. I don't know if you've ever read the book. It's it's a great like beginner book. You know what I mean? To like getting in touch with being sensitive to energy, you know, and like how it might talk. It's definitely a good like. So
I'm gonna pick a fairy one, and then we're gonna sort of dissect these.
I'll go with the practical one first.
Okay.
Cloak yourself in light. So it's basically asking you to protect your energy field. Be very remembering to declare, this is me, this is them. I am here. I am good. I'm kind of getting this like vibe of yellow, even though it looks like a kind of like a white coat or like a white, like just like, I don't know, nightgown kind of looking thing, the way it's drawn.
Yeah, but, like a cloth.
Yeah, like like an angel or like a old fashioned kind of thing. But anyway, I'm seeing like yellow in general. Like yellow is a very intelligent, intellectual, logical kind of color frequency in general. And it's very helpful for like the old pictures when there was like a golden halo. It was representative sometimes of being like protected in your mind, not in a way that you reject like helpful things or, you know, other people's perspectives, but where you kind of reject what is someone else's idea completely or is like really not for you. So
it's interesting how, you know, we uniquely can read or perceive cards differently, because I love what you're saying. And yet when I look at this card, I see heal your wounds is what I feel. I feel injury, you know, and very specifically of the heart. And I feel that the cloaking is, you know, being gentle with yourself, allowing yourself to heal from those wounds, especially heart-driven ones, you know, betrayal, abandonment, you know, loss of love connection.
Yeah.
And to know that it's okay to go through a grieving process. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you go.
Okay, so this is our fairy card. And it's the 9 of Summer, and it is what? Wishes come true. I'm sorry, it took me a minute there. Wishes come true, dreams fulfilled, a magical time of life.
Ooh, I love that.
Look at that. Beautiful, yes?
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Well, the message itself is so beautiful. It's such an uplifting one. Wishes fulfilled, dreams coming true. That kind of speaks for itself. Hold on, you know, whatever you're working on, you know, it's sort of like what we said earlier, you know, everything is emotion. And just because we don't have evidence of something, this is speaking to me, just because we don't have tangible evidence of something in our forefront doesn't mean at all that it is not in motion, that it's not, you know, taking place behind the scenes. And of course, the frustration that comes with that, but hopefully the uplifting and knowing through the oracle that it is coming, you know, and that
I think of too, just like enjoying like the flow, you know, like from just like you were talking about, like, you know, I'm Aquarius, I am more cosmic, or, you know, like that kind of opposite, not opposite, but like if you say grounder and like cosmic, let's say, and like for someone like me who feels very like thrown off by this energy, just stop trying to make sense of it. Just enjoy all the manifesting ideas or the images or the daydreams or the things that you want to create in a more like flowy, less like it has to be down on paper. It has to be my plan, my calendar. Let me fill up my project idea, you know, and just kind of in this like gentle manifesting of like magnetizing those two in like a comfortable way, you know, and that they're coming, you know, but they're coming from flow and
I could definitely see that, especially from the last line, a magical time of life, you know. Yay. And then what do you have there?
We have the Princess of Wands in reverse. So this is in reverse. So we have the Princess of Wands to me is like excited to create, you know, like new to it though, maybe inexperienced, you know, perhaps, or finally got the wand, finally ready to go do something, but like this kind of like eagerness or immaturity certainly can be there as like a risk. And the fact that it's reversed makes me feel like that risk is kind of what's being brought up, you know, like we chatted about already with like, do I have everything in place, or I'm trying to do this, but am I ready for it yet? So it's more just like honest reflection and like looking at things from different perspectives before we act. Like it's not about act right now. It's about sense and feel and acclimate and drift, you know, in a more not so urgent kind of way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not impatient, you know?
And I love that, yes, because, you know, we could see how it applies, right? I feel something a little different here when I look at the Princess of Wands upright. I feel empowerment. I feel taking a stance, you know, boldness, you know, like not taking any shit, you know what I mean? Like, hey, this is who I am. So embracing yourself, claiming yourself. Of course, it's in reverse. So I feel like I want to say the first thing that I feel like I want to say is there's no such thing as failure. You know, there is no such thing. You know, one of the greatest gifts is about knowing that we have opportunities to recreate and to re-experience again and again. You know, so if something, I feel this card deeply. I feel like somebody really put their heart into the fruition of something, you know, or the manifestation of something, and that for whatever reasons it didn't play out, and that it's you know, so they're feeling disenchanted, disempowered, or almost questioning the process or the belief, and saying, "Don't go there," you know, just because
it's just a notch on your belt. Like keep going, you know,
things that don't work out is because they're not meant to work out, because there's something, there really is a truth to that, something better, bigger, you know, more in alignment. And so a disappointment is nothing more than a detour to a bigger place, you know? Yes.
I love that. I love that you saw that.
Yeah. And so I hope that speaks to, in an uplifting way, to anyone that may relate to the card in a kind of way.
Yeah, it's just like, it's just a weird time, I think, for a lot of us in the winter in general. I think we all kind of have our own way we handle it, you know?
Yes.
And I know, of course, like not all of us are in the winter for you Australians and, you know, like other people. But for us here anyway, it's just like, I feel like I always feel like this. And sometimes I'm like last year, I feel like I was much easier to tap into cozy time and just be like, well, you know, like, okay, but I'm going to make sure I have my like dandy blend. It's like fake coffee. It's just like a yummy, like not chocolate, but like kind of like warm drink, or making that like mulled spiced warm wine, or like the, you know what I mean? Or like, you know,
cider.
Yeah. Like just like enjoying what is available and stuff. But there's something for me this time that's like harder for me to tap into that. And I'm just like trying to get there, I guess, you know, in terms of like,
I think you
comfort.
need to take some
I need a
time
vacation.
off.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm going to take a week
You
off.
need to take some time off, because, you know, just because we're going through these seasons doesn't mean that we all succumb to it. This young lady here who's constantly busy. And by the way, I feel the same way. I'm not as busy as you, but I get busy with the classes and stuff. I know when I have to stop. You know,
that's one of the things I really need to work on.
I really honor that, because I've learned through not honoring it that it's like, no, wait. Okay, a heavy week of teaching, of the classes, of this and that, of sessions. You know what? I need to take an overnighter somewhere. I need to connect to nature. I need to eat food, have a glass of wine, a bubble bath, you know, and almost make believe that this world doesn't exist. You
for
know,
a little while,
the emails
like,
are still there, the taxes, and you know, but just that temporary escape.
I need it. I don't think I've taken a vacation like at all. You know, like I had some. I don't know.
girl.
Can you remember? I went to Spain.
Not since you've been here with me.
I went to Spain.
Well, you went to Spain.
But that wasn't like a vacation, relaxing vacation. It was like very busy. And then after that, I went to Boulder for a couple days, and that was like a vacation. That was like real chill.
And we were just talking about this during breakfast, like traveling and sightseeing versus relaxing. Believe it or not, and again, this may not apply, and this is my own experience. I think that the best refueling times are the short,
like little places,
like a drive. Like I love
one
going
overnight.
to the Catskills. Yeah. Here in New York. Or to New Hope, because it's great to get to an island. I love that too. But the traveling and the packing and the this, right?
Yeah.
But a great refuel. So wherever you are, if you're tuning in and you feel like, like Loon, that, kind of a little lethargic and feeling, a little worn, take an overnighter wherever you are. There's places wherever we are, find a nice, charming little, B&B and just chill out. You know what I mean? Like
get some room service.
Go look at the specialty shops, a little stroll, lazy breakfast. You know? Yeah,
it's what I need for sure. I have it in my calendar like blocked out.
We're gonna hold it to that. Yes. I'm gonna have to do an more time by myself.
Well, that's not the stressful part, and it's not even like that the work is stressful. It's just like it's very easy to let your schedule fill up. If my schedule fills up about a week in advance, pretty much. So every time I think, oh yeah, I'm gonna plan a day off for myself, or oh I'm gonna, it's like I just don't do it. It's like it's easy to do. It's just actually doing it. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, another week went by.
I gotta tell you, this is a big thing because a lot of times, I live this in my home life, not me, but where distractions become our lives. I'm not saying that this is
I
you,
understand.
But I'm saying that, I'm pulling from what you're saying, and we need to be mindful of that because some of us can get pulled by distractions. It could be work. It could feel like work, like an obligation we've taken on or whatever. And the thing with that is that we become so busy and that it becomes our lives and we don't know how to stop. There's a big danger in that because we need to replenish. There's no way that we're going to be able to keep the momentum of giving whatever it is we're doing if we don't take the time to fill the cup.
Yeah. No, you're so right.
And when we do, then we feel rejuvenated and we have so much more to give.
I really like what you're saying too about like the shorter term ones because then it's like easier to get back. Like when you've been gone for a week or something, it's like you get back.
You get into that.
It's a lot.
Airport and
but even like getting home and then like having to get back in, so it's a very like okay, I was just here.
A lot of the overnighters that I do truly feel like they're longer. I don't know why the drive, because maybe I'm really immersed in it. But sometimes it's like starting on early Sunday and coming back like, Monday evening. And I'm telling you, by the time it feels like we've been gone for 2 or 3 days. It feels
time slows down.
Yeah. And it's fulfilling. And it's only, like 2-hour drive.
Yeah. It's harder too for, like I have a 6-year-old. So like he's got to come and he's not relaxing. He doesn't nap or anything. So, it's a whole, we have to make it work. We have to make it work for us kind of thing, So
maybe an hour.
Yeah.
New Hope is
or maybe I'll just go.
Or maybe you just go. Oh my God. Yes. And so we're hoping that you guys plan your little overnighter replenisher and you share about it.
Yeah. Or even just like cutting off everything. Like even if you can't, like I can't leave, but like turn off everything. Turn off your phone. Turn off your email. Set yourself up with like some nice takeout and just do the best,
Netflix or a couple of movies. And, it's funny because we started by the urgency of being stuck. Now
we're like,
and
enjoy
now
it.
We're kind of like saying like, wait a minute, stay, kind of get back into that place. It's the different variations of where we may find ourselves in, So if you feel cooped in, get out. If you are doing too much, then take the time to kind of settle in and just reprogram. Reprogram, that's such an important word. You know, like reset the channel because we could go run amok. If we don't.
For sure. That's where I'm at.
And so run amok over here and Sybil.
I'm so sleepy. I don't know.
We hope that today spoke to you in some way. We see so many comments. You know, every time I see the comments, I say we're going to do a live stream where we answer these questions. But we just haven't figured it out because we don't want... I
feel like we should ask questions somewhere else so that we have the questions.
Yeah, how would we do that?
We could post like a thread on the community page here or something.
Oh, you know? That would be great because I love to answer some of the questions, but we also don't want to stop and look or get distracted by, you know, like just regular comments. So I like that idea. So maybe we should plan ahead.
Yeah, it's just
any questions that you like to ask us or regarding a subject. We'd love to hear from you. Of course, we're so grateful that you support us here.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend.
Yes, absolutely. Have a great weekend. We love you. We always leave you with our love, our light, and our peace. Until next time, Luna's going to take a nap now.
Yeah, if I could.